Thank you very much, and can I congratulate the Chamber on a very successful event today, and thank you for organising today's event. I'd first like to pay my respects to the traditional owners of the land in which we meet today, and my respect to the elders both past and present. It was our Mayor, Pam Parker, who once stated that to be the Mayor of any city, you should have first served as a local councillor. And I stand before you as such a mayoral candidate. I have extensive local knowledge, experienced leadership. You see, Logan is my home. This is where I grew up. This is where I'm raising my family, and I have a deep understanding of this city. I've grown with Logan, and I've been part of its change. At age 16, in conjunction with the PCYC of Woodridge, I was able to provide a place for troubled teens each and every week. And since then, I've served this community in various forms of community service over the past 29 years. And I have a vision for its future. As a councillor, I believe I am approachable, and I've built a solid reputation for consultation and team building. I am a man who just likes to get things done. There's an African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, then you go alone. If you want to go far, then we go together. That philosophy has always been part of my management ethic. I operate as one among equals, and as your mayor, I intend to build a team around me that will ensure the best decisions are made on your behalf each and every time. I have chaired the delivery of no less than the past 7 council budgets, with 7 consecutive surpluses and 3 CPI-only rate increases over the past 3 budgets. And I should mention that the City of Logan is the 3rd largest budgeted council in Australia. But I'm proud that I'm a product of this city. And I'm absolutely driven to see the City of Logan succeed beyond all expectations and be the inspiration for other cities to follow. I was first elected to Logan City Council in a Division 5 by-election almost 10 years ago, and then re-elected into Division 6, where I currently serve and where we're meeting today. I hold numerous positions in community groups and positions of leadership in council, including the current Chair of Governance, Finance and Economic Development Committee. I chair the Council's Audit Committee, the City Budget Steering Committee. I chair the Committee of the Whole for Budget Deliberations. I'm a Director of the Invest Logan Board. I sit on the Executive Review Panel, as well as every committee that Logan City Council has. But I have the highest honour to represent the good people of Division 6. Looking back 10 years reveals a great deal about how far this city has come. We've achieved a lot in these years. We've tightened up our executive structure. We've driven change in spending practices throughout the organisation. We've worked hard to deliver best practice in all areas of operation. We've won many awards and even transformed how we listen to and serve the people of this city better. To be part of this decade of change has been a steep learning curve for me, and it's given me a deep understanding of why these changes were needed, ensuring that under my leadership we will never retreat, but we will press on. 10 years ago, most people connected with us through writing letters or picking up the phone. Expectations on timeframes were less. Well, that's a far cry from today, where I now get tagged on Facebook posts or private message via Messenger, or I get sent texts or videos of an issue of concern as it happens. Of course, the expectation on tighter turnaround timeframes are greater. In departments that I oversee, we are now embracing the digital future and social media platforms to help assist and inform residents on any issue. As a young man of just 46, I understand how technology is impacting organisations big and small and governments of all levels. As Mayor, I will ensure Logan City Council is never left behind. We will move seamlessly into the digital age and beyond. However, to keep ahead of the game means creating and maintaining many meaningful relationships across all levels of governments, and the ability to turn the interests of major corporations toward our city for investment. I've been doing this in my current role, and I'll bring this experience into the role as Mayor. Together, we've already achieved so much, and I have a fire in my belly to achieve a whole lot more for this city into the future. Our city is unique. We have 5 town centres, people from 216 different cultures representing different parts of the world, and we have space to grow and develop. We have a quality of life that others envy, and we're positioned perfectly to pick up the growth in South East Queensland. As Mayor of the City of Logan, I see myself as the greatest advocate who will propel the city to be a priority on the state and national agendas to ensure that we are not left out of key infrastructure funding, like the rollout of the NBN or the much-needed transport connectivity. Over the past 10 years, you have invested into me. You have developed me into a better leader. I have represented you to the state and the nation and around the world. You have expanded my network and you have prepared me to take on the role as the next Mayor of Logan. And now it's time for you to get a return on that investment and ensure a solid path forward. In the coming years, hundreds of thousands of new families will arrive to call Logan their home. We will have a growing population and a growing workforce, and it's only with experienced leadership that we can create a better future together. You see, our city can lead the way in digital technology and advanced manufacturing, attracting attention of all levels of government and creating not just jobs, but new and futuristic careers. Our city can innovatively blaze a trail into the new era of private-public partnerships. Our city can ensure potential results overtake perceptions. Our city can continue to hold on to a community spirit that stands alongside of those in need and those who deserve a second chance. Our city can encourage innovation and drive change to inspire a nation. This is a great city, and together we've already achieved great things. I can and I will hit the ground running on Monday, March 21. And in doing so, I believe that greater things are yet to come. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Luke. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mr. Brettraguse.
So I too would like to acknowledge the traditional owners and custodians of the land on which we meet. And if you can hear my voice today, I was talking to Bill Richards before, and it's good for me to be up here to do something rather serious, because normally Bill gets me up to sing. But I said to him today, my voice is not up to shape, so I'm not going to do that. Okay, Bill. Look, can I say on a serious note, of course, this election is an important election for all of us, that's why we're here. Those of you who know my background, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, but the reality is that Logan is at a stage that we need to now move forward. Pam Parker in 2008, when she became the mayor, I was the federal member at that stage, and of course, the city has just gone through an amalgamation. Northern Gold Coast, Northern Bay Desert, to create a city that's now 950 plus square kilometres. Prior to that, I think it sat around the 200 mark. The population was fairly stable and didn't move. State government at the time presented Logan with a major challenge. And the major challenge because this community, the communities of Northern Gold Coast and of Northern Bay Desert, were doing it tough. Infrastructure wasn't being shared, there was a lack of funding for roads, a whole range of issues. Now, at that time, of course, I was a federal member, and I remember talking to Pam initially about the challenge ahead. And Pam worked very, very hard in that campaign and overwhelmingly won the support of the community, probably because she had been a councillor for some years before, and I acknowledge what Luke has said about having some experience. I'm going to talk about that experience in a minute in terms of my experiences. Because another interesting statistic, of course, is that the two most successful councillors in council right now were employees of Logan City Council prior to becoming councillors. I too was an employee once in my career, for 2 years as senior manager in Logan City. In fact, I can boast that I've worked at 3 levels of government: a federal member, a senior exec in state government. I was a TAFE director for many years. I was also in the political area of advising ministers, and we have 2 state ministers today who know the role that advisors have in their offices. To then be a senior manager in Logan City Council and working in the engine room of the organisation, understanding the budget from the inside, understanding the issues of staffing, understanding the issues of how you take an organisation like Logan City forward. And getting back to my opening remarks about, this is about the future. There's a whole range of things we can talk about of where we've been and how we've come here. Pam Parker has been an amazing mayor. We all understand it and acknowledge that. Why? Because she's been able to bring the community together. This new city of Logan was never going to work it didn't matter what we could have done, how much infrastructure we may have put into this place, unless the community is working together. Pam and I sat down, I remember in a meeting, Paul Basali was presenting in Windaroo at the time, and I remember having a discussion about where Logan was, where we're situated, and I acknowledge again Councillor Luke Smith when he says, we are well placed. Here we are in a region. John Freeman has said the same. We all understand that we are perfectly placed as a hub in southeast Queensland. I said at a function the other day that Logan, Gold Coast, Brisbane, Ipswich, all are important cities in our region, and it's the way that we've got to look at this. There should not be the turf wars. Pam very cleverly positioned Logan, the heart of southeast Queensland, in terms of the community, but it is also a hub in terms of the investment and where we need to go. The reality, of course, is that if we don't share infrastructure, if we don't lobby governments together as a region, then we're not going to progress. So it doesn't matter. Logan City is the 5th and the 6th largest city in Australia, depending on how you measure that population or geography. The budget is large, but it's a limited budget. It's a limited budget in terms of where we are right now. And I think what I bring to the table, having qualifications in commerce, in education and in management, I've been a business owner, I still am today a business owner, I've been a public servant, I've been a federal member of parliament. When you put all those things together, and if you look at my CV, because I won't bore you with all of that again today, you'll see that the major infrastructure that I was able to bring, in association with, in those days, our opposition, and the state and the federal counterparts, to bring the light rail to the Gold Coast, to bring the new Logan Hospital, which has just been opened, to bring the railway upgrade to Brompton, was part of my plan to get more public transport. And again, one of those issues that we have in this city is about mobility. We are well placed, we need the investment, but we can't do it on the rate base that we have right now. We have to encourage more investment, and I know Councillor Smith has said the same thing. Bringing this investment to this region, the public and private partnerships that we need to build, get the private sector mobilised and motivated, give them the incentives to be here. I've been successful in doing that at that very high level in the federal parliament, and I'm telling you, politics is a tough game for all of us. But at the end of the day, you've got to have commitment, you've got to be able to work with other people. And to have 2 state ministers here today, and all of those in this room who are somehow connected to the business of this region, we all have to work together, and as Pam Parker has been able to successfully claim, Logan is one city. She talks about the heart of southeast Queensland, community spirit second to none. Well, you know, if we want healthy communities, if we want our communities to grow, work together, and be prosperous, then we've got to give people the economic opportunities that exist. It's a bit like saying when we talk about jobs, and again, on another occasion I can talk to you about the jobs plan. The best social security we can give to any community is a job. And how do we do that? We support business. Most people understand that development is important. And this region is very ripe for development, but it's got to be the right type of development. I can talk to you about the history, and if you look at Beenleigh as an example, it was part of my federal seat prior to being Logan. Council had certainly attempted to make a lot of moves down in Beenleigh, but Beenleigh is essentially a basket case. Not because the community there had issues, it's because they were once part of Brisbane. They were part of then Albert Shire, then they were the Gold Coast, and we now take them into Logan. This current council have worked very, very hard to make them part of the Logan picture, and the community understand that. But unless we get the investment into places like Beenleigh, unless we get investment into these regions, then we might as well take a look at ourselves and say we just can't take this forward. Without that investment, without making and giving incentives, we can't progress as a city. So I'll probably leave it at that today to say thank you very much for the time, the indulgence. My CV probably talks a little bit more about the things that I've been able to achieve. And having worked at those 3 levels of government, it is all about working together with the state, working together with federal, having our community on board, and not the turf wars that separate ourselves from Ipswich to Brisbane to Gold Coast. We are one community, southeast Queensland. If we want to get an M1 upgrade, let's not fight the turf wars. So thanks very much, and thanks for listening.
Thanks very much, Brett. Ken. Your time does start. two beautiful girls. And I want to start by respecting the traditional owners as well, because they are the roots of the place that we stand in. I've spoken at a few events now, and I've had it said to me, Ken, you need to blow your own trumpet more. I've just done it. Now let me blow Logan's trumpet. Great cities don't just materialise. Great cities are constructed on the solid foundations of strong, healthy people. Great cities are built on one person at a time. Built one person at a time. People like the four I'm about to introduce to you now, come on, Kat. People who I've been privileged to walk and work alongside in Logan over the 21 years that I've worked and served in this great city. I'm just going to introduce Taylor and they'll four of them speak.
Hi. To this day, I count the blessings that I was fortunate to have met Ken Houliston. I was only 16 and suffering some pretty severe physical, emotional abuse by my mother, so severely that I was hospitalised for 3 days. It was at this point that I met Ken Houliston. So my early life was a struggle. I was really miserable, low self-esteem, where to live. And fortunately, Ken helped guide me to get some employment, accommodation, self-esteem, everything. He just fixed my life up in time. My current life now, I'm happily married with a husband, run my own business with him, travel the world. I look forward to what my future will bring. I believe that Ken has a compassion, a heart, a commitment to lead Logan as a mayor with integrity and cares for everyone, and small man as well. He's proven it every day that I've known him.
Hi, I'm Jerry Gillen. I've known Ken for 15, 16, maybe longer. When I first met Ken, I was living in the valley. Mental health was the major issue I faced. Ken and his team found me and rescued me from the streets, which I've been living on for 2 to 3 years. I lived in Ken's opposite spot for 2 years, and after that, I was made the honorary caretaker of the new spot building, or should I say the FSG spot building. I honestly think Ken is a born leader and will do Logan proud. Also, another thing I should also add, I've never had another episode since I've known Ken.
Yeah, I've known Ken for about 20 years now. And when we first met, I was young and stupid, heading down a path of self-destruction with my two best friends, Jim Bean, Johnny Walker, and Jack Daniels. I had no idea what Ken saw in me at the time when we first met, but he took me under his wing and he showed me there was more important things than chasing skirt and writing myself off for booze every weekend just to hide from my problems. Through the help of Ken and the spot, I've now become a functioning member of society. And he's able to help me change my view from what can I get to what can I give. During those years with Ken, I went from participating in programs at the spot like Spot FM many years ago to actually facilitating the programs and helping youth in the community. Coming from a path of self-destruction, I really do thank Ken for his help and guidance in that time. So I've just been, Ken asked me to say that from way back then, I'm part of self-destruction to now I'm a proud member of the Queensland Police Service working here at Logan Central Police Station.
Hi guys, I'm Katie Barnes. I work at Spot Community Services, have done for the last 7 years, which means working with and beside Ken for the last 7 years. So I'm here today not only with my own voice, but the voice of my entire team. Because if there's one thing that Ken has taught us, it's that it's never about one single person. It's about a team of people all coming together with mutual values, respect and passion. So my team and I, we work across Logan, supporting families, some in their darkest hours. Ken never fails to make us feel proud and appreciated and honoured for the work that we do here. Ken is a constant source of support and motivation as to why it is so important to continue to strive to strengthen the families in this area and in this community, and it's a shared passion, and I know that Ken will take that wherever he goes and whatever he does.
This is an exciting time to be living in Logan. I believe today, right now, Logan City is better positioned than it ever has been to capitalise on the opportunities before us. But to go forward, Logan needs a leader with a big heart and a big vision of people. I learned to play the trumpet when I was quite young, but I learned that the really important thing about playing a trumpet is that on your own you're not that good. A solo instrument, even a solo instrument, always has backing at some point in time to make it really sound good. And in the same way, we need to be accompanied by others in everything that we do. As a city, we're like a band, an orchestra, a choir, if you like, Bill. And the best performance will be achieved when we work together, by recognising the diverse talents and the abilities that each person in Logan can bring to the ensemble. But if we don't, the music will turn to silence in the city to suffer. As your mayor, I do not see myself as the one who needs to be able to play all the instruments. I'm the guy who seeks out those who play the individual instruments really well and put them in the orchestra or the band or the singing in the choir. Building a city culture that identifies and builds on the strengths. Really, where am I? 30 seconds. I'll cut and run. For me, growth is not just about numbers and dollars. To me, growth is about opportunity, incredible opportunities that with passionate, careful leadership will turn the spotlight on Logan as a city to live, to learn, to love and to laugh. Can I throw a few notes away? Can I lead this city? Yes, because my focus is on you, the people of Logan, and not on me. Together, we will make great music. We will build a great city. May the force be with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, 3 different presentations, 3 very different candidates. You've got a sense of your candidates, an early sense. We're about to open up questions from the floor, and I'll take the second mic and I'll want to be for that. But before we do, I said part B allows the chamber the opportunity to ask the first question, which has been given to me. And as I said before, I'll ask Luke to respond first, and then Brett, and then Ken. And then subsequent questions from the floor will go in round robin. So Brett will take the follow-up question, and so forth. So the question from the chamber, Luke, is how do you plan to get Logan moving in terms of construction and business development in the Springwood CBD area especially?
Thanks for the question. Well, I'm aware that Springwood is absolutely one of the areas that we're focusing on, but I'm also aware that at the moment there's a live development application for a 15-storey building in Carroll Avenue. There's also an application that is about to go in that I'm aware of for an expansion of the target area for an extra 1,000 square metres. So these are both projects that I've worked with behind the scenes to get them to the stage they're in. I've also been working with investors who are looking at putting more on top of that target area, and I believe that in the next term of office you will see Logan's first real high-rise in that area. It's something I've been focused on. It will change the face of our city. and it will happen. The area of Springwood in particular is so important to us because it is the first thing people see when they go down the M1. And we've got a great opportunity to change how Logan looks from the very beginning. We're also very excited, I have to say that we've got a development application that's been approved for Beanley for 15 stories as well. So I believe both Beanley and Springwood are vital to create the business hub. The biggest concern we have in Springwood is the slow internet speed. It is hurting our business, and we're seeing people leave the area because of that. So we need the NBN to get back here, and it's my role to make sure that we are a national priority on the national agenda for the NBN role. Thank you.
How do you plan to get Logan moving in terms of construction and business development, especially in Springwood area?
Well, thanks for that question. In fact, interesting enough, we talk about CBDs. We all understand the concept, the CBD, concentric circles moving out. Guess what? That's not how we plan cities anymore. In fact, our very own Logan planning scheme, the very new plan, essentially dismisses the need for CBD. It's about activity centres, key activity centres. And yes, Springwood is one of those key activity centres. The reality is that we can't do what we did in the past. Springwood is an area of great interest. It is on the M1. I've been saying this for years. From the time that I was the federal member, guess what? Nothing's happened yet. And it's probably because we haven't, again, incentivised developers the right way. If you build a 15-storey tower in Springwood, then what? Where is the plan? How does the plan work? Now, interesting enough, those applications, and I'm more than happy to bring high-rise to the city. We need it because that's how we work against and use existing infrastructure. You know, knocking down trees and opening green space for development's not the way to go. But Springwood, and I know one of those applications, sits right in the middle of a road corridor. The very road corridor that was planned many years ago by John Freeman, in fact, to open Springwood up to allow transport and vehicles and other access around Springwood. Who said Springwood needs to be the CBD? And I need to see the plans for that, because we talk about key activity centres. When I was a federal member, I had a large part of the southern end of Logan. I also had northern Gold Coast and Beaudesert to Boona. It was a massive electorate. And I used to talk about the 9 communities in that electorate. It was a 3,500 square kilometre electorate. 9 activity centres or little townships. Logan is very much a miniature of that. We have multiple areas that should be developed and considered across the wide plan. I'd like everyone to read the new planning scheme, which actually doesn't talk about or need or want a CBD. That development, yes, the M1 is very important, but somewhere between Springwood and Logan Home is the city of Logan for most people when they drive through there every day and they don't understand. Yes, we will incentivise, but let's not make the planning mistakes of the past. Beanley is a classic example of that. And to put high-rise in Beanley is important, but it should be residential. It shouldn't necessarily be commercial. Mixed business, but okay, mixed business to ensure that we get population, people spending money on the ground, incentivising business to do more. Thank you.
Ken, how do you plan to get Logan moving in terms of construction and business development in the Springwood City area?
The first thing I'll do is set up some reference groups that come around the table, because I want to have guys like Luke and Brett on that reference team, because they bring a lot of experience and they bring a lot of knowledge, because a lot of people out here that have that knowledge as well. I call myself extraordinarily ordinary, because I don't have all the answers to all the questions that are going to come today. Some of the answers I do have, and they're not going to be said today, because the press will have them when it's good and ready and moving and to give them. So I don't have the thorough plan for that, Peter, but what I would say is we do need to stabilise our development and let developers know what we are going to do. Because to bring confidence to the city, we need to have said to them this, and this. I know it's in the town plan, but we need to now move forward from the town plan, which is already in a good state, and say to people, come and put your money here. But if we're not real sure ourselves, then it's not going to happen. And I know council has done so much good work on this, and I know that now is the time to carry that forward. So while I do, I will be putting together reference groups that represent lots of different parts of the community to come to terms with these issues, that we've got a number of centres in our city. Do we want one centre? Do we want 5 centres? How do we want it to look? I don't know that the people have yet spoken on that, and I want to hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've just been made aware that John Freeman has been able to join us this morning. John, we've been able to read out your statement. We won't get time to give you your 7 minutes, but if you'd like to come and join the panel, you're fine there? Okay, thank you. But obviously, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to meet John at the end of the forum. So as I said, I'm going to now wander down to the floor. I'm going to take questions from the floor, and I'll choose them. If you could put your hands up if you have a question. If you could also state your name, who you are, and particularly if you represent anybody in particular, that would be good. Can I remind people of the terms of reference? Keep it short, keep it respectful, to the point, and remember, we're here to meet the candidates from this area with you. I say that most respectfully. Trevor, I'll it's okay. I'll leave this. So I saw a hand go up there.
Good morning, Terry Cooper, representing the Australian Small Business Group. Can you tell me what you will do to support small business in Logan?
Thank you, Terry. In fact, I am a small businessman, have been before I was in politics and certainly now as well. There is lots and lots and lots, and I can give a long answer to that, but the short question essentially is, we do know small business is affected by red tape and compliance. State know it, federal know it, and so does council. My concern has been, as a businessman in council, that, businessman who's living in the city of Logan, that there certainly are a whole range of compliance issues and costs around running business. And it's not the big ticket items, it's the small things that happen. I'm concerned that the culture within Logan now, with great respect to public servants, because I was one for 10 years, that there has to be an understanding culturally in our city about why small business is important. We all talk about it, governments talk about it, but certainly the city council itself has to have specific policies. I know what they are, but compliance is one of the very, very first issues. We get business invested in the city by those big operators who want to spend a lot of money in the city. That flows on to small business. But on another occasion, I can talk more about that.
Thanks for the question. I'm with Brett on a lot of what he said. I'm also a small business person, believe it or not. A family building company and a real estate company now. Also, I've developed a few social enterprises along the way, like a rock wall and a cafe and a few things like that. So I understand that. You know, my answer to that question is in the theme of what I've been saying. And I would say this, that urgent things are really important, urgent things are really urgent. We need to be putting the effort into the things that aren't so urgent but are very important. And I know that as a small business person myself, I know that getting the right staff, getting people that want to work, getting people that know themselves is very important. So as a city, we've got to build from the ground up. We've got to build and educate. We've got to bring people to work in a good state so they can give a really good day's work to small business, because small business is the engine room of the city. And so all the above, with the dropping of all of the protocols and things that have to be done to get through the hoops, yes, all that's got to be done. That's probably urgent.
Thanks, Ken. Luke, just before we go to you, Trevor, if we can have some assistance with the audio, we've got a bit of a ticket going on here. A helicopter sound happening. It's very difficult to put these signals and stuff, but we'll continue on.
Terry, thank you for your question. Thank you for what you do with developing the business as well, helping people be encouraged through that. The two things that I'd like to focus on, first of all, we have a tremendous asset for small business, and the 22,000 small businesses get support from our Logan Office of Economic Development each and every day. I constantly get response from our small business owners saying thank you so much for the service that our LOED staff offer, and it's Garnet and Wayne are here today, who go out, get paid by council to stand beside small business and help them in any way possible. We come along small business and help them grow if they want to grow, get to the next level, get grants, and move throughout the city and help them through new developments as well. It's absolutely priority that we focus on that. So as Mayor, as you may know, the Office of Economic Development does not have a current manager. And I'll be ensuring that we get the right person that can come alongside a small business and help them. Secondly, I'd like to embrace the chambers. I've been working with the chambers as the Chair of Economic Development now, and all three presidents meet, and now the 418 Club. It's my intent to build into them and to encourage the chambers to grow and get growth and more representation from all the small business owners into the chambers so that you can speak with one voice in advocacy. Thank you.
Thank you. So I'll just swap microphones for a second. It might just be easier to manage. I'm going to throw it to Pam.
Thank you, Peter. It's interesting to hear that all candidates are rightly focusing on jobs which equal lifestyle, particularly in Logan. And I know we're in a chamber club, and I want to ask questions that are pertinent to the businesses, to the families, and to all the ratepayers in Logan. And they're questions you can probably only ask if you are the current outgoing mayor. So I know the media are very interested in the answers to these questions, as I am as well. Since 2012, the Local Government Act gave powers to the mayor to bring down budgets. And with that ability, we have been able to deliver 3 consecutive CPI budgets in Logan, the only council in Queensland to do so. So my question is, what is your commitment today on the public record to delivering responsible CPI rate increases for the people of Logan in the future, with the exception of a disaster hit in the city? That's question 1, there are 3. The bills do another walk to the other part.
Thanks, Pam. I'm old enough and weathered enough to know both sides of that dialogue from a family point of view. I've done both. I've lived within my means and I've lived outside of my means. I know which is the most comfortable and I know which is the most important. To live inside your means is the most important. So my commitment today, Pam, is to deliver a balanced budget every year of term. Where we need to raise funds for special projects or disasters and the like, will go to the people. CPI or less.
Along with the councillors we have here today and yourself, Pam, I've been chairing the finance team for the last 7 years and delivered the last 3 budgets in CPI only with surplus. And that came through ensuring that we drove change in how the bureaucracy focuses on spending. We spent a lot of time making sure that spending is more efficient, and I'll continue to do that into the future.
Thank you, Pam. In fact, I'll keep this brief, but really to say, when you start talking about budgets and CPI, when you talk about an organisation like council, and I take Pam's point about CPI as a measurement, the reality for all of us in business, if all we can do is keep up with CPI, we're going to go out of business. So it's not about the rate increases. In fact, it should never be about increases. It should be about how we reduce the cost. In fact, I'm not a candidate who's going to stand up here and say, I'm going to bring the rates down, because that's a complicated process. But what I do commit to, and I can find immediately tomorrow $20 million worth of saving in the organisation. It's so large because it is so large, you can find those savings. That on the bottom line for rates is not a large amount. But the point I'm making, this is about bringing down the costs of running this organisation by bringing in more investment. This is the whole strategy around PPPs. We bring new money into the city. The rates base of the city shouldn't pay for our expansion, because if it's only CPI, we're going to go out of business, because it's only keeping up with the cost of living. So I take it from a point of council. I take it from the point that this is how council measure their budgets in terms of rate rises, but the reality is we have to bring our rates down. Water is going through the roof. There's a whole range of other issues and costs. My strategy is about bringing more investment to the city to bring the costs down. Yeah.
Also, mortgage choice, Eight-Mile Plains. I'm also a committee member with Logan Chamber of Commerce. I'd like to know how you propose to foster economic development and job creation particularly in view of the planned residential buildings in the Parkridge area, to stop that massive migration of people going out and all of the related traffic problems that we're seeing with Yarrabilba and also on Mountains in Congo now. Thanks.
I just didn't hear all that.
Sorry. I'm very sorry. Vicky, can you speak up? The microphones are having a problem with it. I'm sorry.
Okay. I'd just like to know how you plan to foster local economic development and job creation, particularly with the Parkridge area, with the planned residential developments going on over there, with a view to reducing the traffic congestion on the mountains in Conway and all around that area, because we're seeing problems with places like Yarraville with the traffic going out through that way. So I just wondered if the infrastructure planning, what you've got in mind for that going forward.
So infrastructure planning or job creation?
Either or.
Righto. Well, thank you for your question.
I'm just thinking that if you could get the economic development and the job creation right, it would stop a lot of migration from those areas out of
Sure.
the local area. Yeah?
It's a good question. Infrastructure Australia said that you could spend $6 billion on the M1, you'll still have congestion unless we create jobs right here in the city of Logan. So that's absolutely my focus, and that's why when we finally see the NBN of faster internet speed come here, we'll be able to produce business hubs right here in the city of Logan. This is a great location for people to come here to work, and wouldn't it be great to be able to work where you live? And that's exactly my focus, particularly in that Parkridge area. Currently we have an industrial site that's in dispute with the federal government in North Maclean to become an industrial area. It's in dispute because of the environment sensitivities around it. That is absolutely perfectly positioned to be a job hub for not just Parkridge but also Flagstone, Jimboomba, Greenbank. And I'm actually in support of that going forward, and I believe that that's how we stop congestion, and that's so that we can create more business hubs in that area, and that's what that area from Parkridge, Flagstone, Yarrabilba is created for. Yarrabilba, Flagstone will have their own industrial sites, will have their own commercial areas, and I'll be supporting that 100%.
Thank you for the question. In fact, that leads exactly into what we talked about before when we said that Logan City doesn't necessarily need a CBD. It needs key activity centres. And those areas, and as Councillor Smith said, it's about local activity and local jobs. Industry by very nature and industrial sites by their very nature don't exist anymore because industry is actually based on manufacturing. We are a service economy in Australia now, and we have been developing that way for a long, long time. Just putting industrial estates and building them, say they will come, doesn't work anymore. So the sorts of developments and opportunities we have in Parkridge, and I talk about infill development more so than the greenfield sites they talked about. To plonk an industrial estate in the middle of Parkridge without the infrastructure, the roads and a whole range of electricity and water alone will cost $1 billion. So who's going to pay for that? Well, council can't. So key activity centres in the areas of Parkridge to have that mixed development, like the development that's proposed for Springwood. If you look at those developments, irrespective of whether they're well placed or not, in one contained building, and those of you who spent time in Asia, you live, work and get transported within your own complex. And they're the sorts of developments going forward. So yes, getting people off the road. We know the statistic, 104,000 workers in the city, only 74,000 jobs, 30,000 people leave the city every day. Got to stop that. The M1 won't be congested. We may not have to spend the billions of dollars. Key activity centres, bringing work locally, and that should be in Parkridge, it should be in Beenleigh, it should be in Logan Home, right across the city. So thanks.
I grew up in Papua New Guinea and used to have turn-in talks, people that interpret what you say, and if anyone said something twice, the interpreter would say all same again. I'm going to say all same again. Agree with these guys. But look, it's a complex issue. You've got two things at war with each other, both the infrastructure and the having places like at Parkridge South there. What will I do? I will encourage proper development at the right time with the right infrastructure in place, not after, but before. We have to have the infrastructure before. We're suffering badly as a city right now because we've got two burgeoning cities out on the edge of our city, trying to get people into the city. That's not working. We need to develop work, we need to develop transport, but we've also got to recognise that if we've got 105,000 or whatever it might be workers, not all of them are ever going to work in Logan, because all of us have aspirations, and we might apply for a job in Brisbane City. We might even become a politician that works in there, and we've got to drive to the city and back. That's the reality, or we've got to find a way to get there. That will always be the case. Roads will always be under load. We've got to find smarter ways. We've got to do things like, we've got to teach the people of Logan, when they're driving down the roads that we have currently got, to merge like a zipper. You know what merge like a zipper is? Be polite, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. If we did that, we would solve a lot of our issues that we currently have on the road. So it came from me, but it wasn't original. New Zealand's already done it. Merge like a zipper.
I'm always something I've been around a couple of weeks. I'll ask you a question on behalf of Logan City businesses. Gentlemen, Logan City Council has a preference for supply of services and goods for people outside the city. One of the most positive things you can do for our businesses is to give us an equal opportunity to provide those goods and services. As the Secretary of the Economic Development for 18 years, I've heard all these other stories about camps, but a real positive thing to do is to give us, local businesses, an opportunity to provide goods and services where currently Logan City Council does not. In fact, they have a preferred supplier agreement which gives preference to people outside the city. What are you going to do about it?
Thank you, Roy. In fact, you know, that's music to my ears. I mean, one of the issues, and I worked in council, I know how the procurement works, and unfortunately because of the model, and again, no one's fault, it's no one's fault, but there has to be a culture within council that determines that our businesses come first. And I know the reality about price, okay? But we're talking about a $450 million budget, 900 if you include water, and when it comes down to the criteria about how we select suppliers, and I know for a fact, there are suppliers in this city that can match the price of any external. And the multinationals, if they want to do business with Logan, they set up their headquarters here, or they set up a subsidiary here, supply local council, but supply local jobs. That activity, and I said about being a service industry, forget the big industrial parks belching smoke. We are a service economy, and the very thing you're talking about, a large budget like Logan, 90% of it should be spent in our city. And if we can't acquire the underwater knitting needles from here, we go somewhere else to get them. But music to my ears, and I absolutely am committed to this. And our economic development group, and Wayne's here representing that today, they will be charged with the responsibility of working with companies, not to teach them how to do better business, but actually how to do business with council. That will be my pledge. Thanks.
Great question, Roy. I agree. We have to put a focus on our own family first. We have to support the growth of our own businesses first. And I think the way to do that is to give them the opportunity to be a part of the process as well, not just the outcome. And we need to be engaging our chambers and the like in the process of how do we effectively engage with the business people of Logan? How do we effectively negotiate with those people in such a way that they do get a benefit? I don't care if Logan business gets a benefit. I think they should be ahead of the race.
Well, I'd like you to cite where you got the information from, Roy, to be honest with you, because I can assure you that the council sitting here today do not agree that we prefer people outside the city. What we have not done well is to let people know about local buy. Local Government Association of Queensland got together with the state government and formed an organisation called Local Buy. It allows any business registered on Local Buy to bypass all of the necessary requirements for going out for expression of interest and directly deal with council. Anyone registered with Local Buy, any business, will receive a notice when Logan City Council needs supply of something, whether it be a car or pens. And anyone in that business will be able to see and bid what Logan City Council requires, and you'll be able to supply Logan City Council with that process. I'll be encouraging that because it bypasses a lot of red tape and it allows people to deal directly with council. We want to support small business, and we haven't done well in the past because we haven't trumpeted the joy of local buy. I will be doing that and making sure we can cut red tape and get supplies from Logan City Council in the future. Thank you.
You can talk loud enough, Russell. That's better. Russell Lutton, Deputy Mayor. I've been proud to be Pam's backup for the last 8 years, and I think we're going to miss her. I would ask these guys, 3 years ago, we had an incident in Woodridge. It was a neighbourhood dispute that put us on the 6 o'clock news for a few days for all the wrong reasons. But out of that has come the most fantastic level of cooperation between local, state and federal governments called City of Choice. We developed an action plan with the community on board, and it's addressed a lot of the social issues of the city, and is now moving into the other issues such as job creation and public transport and all these necessities for a great city. I want to gain commitment from the 3 mayoral candidates that they will continue to support and fund the City of Choice going forward for the next 5 to 10 years.
In my 21 years in Logan, the City of Choice process is singularly the most important and the most exciting thing that's happened in Logan. Will I support it? I will support it, Russell, with my dying breath, with every bit of effort that I have. I will work with my state and federal colleagues to make sure that the City of Choice initiatives are not only begun but are completed, whatever that means, but the best that you can do in the period of time that you have, and that we will have it embedded into the culture of Logan.
I currently sit on 2 of the City of Choice working groups, one with Minister De Brenny for transport, and I was originally sceptical because I thought originally it was focusing on one area. But as we branched more into the Logan Together program and we saw how that has blossomed into something quite fantastic and unique, and now with the transport program, I'll be, yes, committed to the City of Choice moving forward, committed to funding and moving it more into an advocacy role for transport infrastructure, for children of the city, for families of the city. And as Councillors Smith and Trevina Schwartz will attest to, we need infrastructure in the areas that they represent, and that's where this City of Choice leadership team can come into its own and be tremendous advocates to all levels of government. I'll be supportive of that and making sure that it's a city-wide approach for the City of Choice program. Thank you.
Thanks, Russell. And first, yes, absolutely, committed to it. City of Choice, of course, is a moment in time. I mean, for all of us, it's about how we take the city forward and deal with the issues of the day. At this point in time, those incidences of a few years ago were very important, and I know the City of Choice program is about dealing with that and our future. If sometime in the future, in 10 years' time, it needs to be something else, I guess the commitment for all of us is to always be looking at better ways of taking the city forward. And the City of Choice, it is a great success story for Logan in terms of our mayor and what they've been able to create. So absolutely will support.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was a very good question to finish this part of the forum on. I always a big believer in leaving wanting more. I know there are lots of questions. We will have an opportunity at the end of today for you to meet candidates person to person, face to face. So I'm sure you guys are sticking around after this if you've got further questions. I'd like to finish the forum with some quick questions for each of the candidates to give you a slice of who you might be and who you are, really. And so I think, who went last there? Luke's next. Luke's next. Okay. Luke, 5 quick questions. 5 quick questions. Come to the microphone. 5 quick questions. 1 word, 1 phrase to answer. Favourite TV show?
I haven't watched TV in a long time, I've got to tell you. In my old days, I have to say Happy Days. There you go.
Favourite place?
Favourite place in the world or in Logan? Favourite place, to be honest, home with my family.
Cats or dogs?
Oh, dogs.
Who inspires you?
No, Bill, not you. I find inspiration of people who are able to pick themselves up and focus on giving themselves a second chance and believing in more than who they perceive themselves to be.
And one word to describe yourself.
Experienced leadership.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you. Slightly different, same thing.
Yeah.
Brett, favourite movie?
Favourite movie? Ghost, for some strange reason. Yeah.
Favourite holiday?
Favourite?
Favourite holiday?
Favourite holiday? When you get holidays, Gold Coast.
Rugby or league?
Soccer.
Favourite quote?
Favourite?
Favourite quote?
Anything that Churchill says, because it's always managed to deal with most issues. Churchillian quotes are great.
And one word to describe yourself?
Short.
Ken,
This is a different one.
slightly different. Favourite band?
Favourite band? Oh, no, AC/DC.
Favourite car?
At the moment, a VW Golf.
Cereal or eggs? Cereal or eggs?
Eggs.
Great teacher.
Mr. Butler.
And one word to describe yourself.
I'll say it really fast. Extraordinarily ordinary.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the close of the forum, but not quite the close of the breakfast. Can I please ask you to join me in thanking the candidates? Now, for anybody to put their hand up to go to public office, whether you win the election or not, it's a big step up, and I certainly really appreciate you taking a step forward. I'm sure everybody in the room does. We appreciate the time you've given us today, and thank you to also managing the microphones as well. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please thank our candidates? And ladies and gentlemen, can you please give yourselves a big round of applause too for a great question.